Okay, so hey folks, how are you? You're doing well? This is the last session of the day that we made sure that all of you stay for. And so Bill Bensley, how many of you do not know who Bill Bensley is?
How many do not know? Okay.
Nobody's going to raise their hand, because that's why I wanted that
I don't know.
to
Who the
happen.
heck is this guy?
So I had a prep call. So Bill is the most legendary hotel, the most legendary hotel visionary, architect, designer in the world, I would say today, and has defined the sort of Southeast Asia sensibility, sort of in my mind, the Bali sensibility, or like the luxury sensibility in the world. And it's an honor that you're here. And I did a prep call with him. I was in New York. He was sitting in the back of a car. And so I asked him, how much do you know about Skift? And he says, 0. And I said, well, the good news is I know nothing about hotel design. So we'll have a lot of fun together. So that's what we're going to try and have, Bill.
Good.
Tell me about your jacket.
Oh, this old thing.
Yeah.
This
is off the record? Was it what
No,
you told
no,
me?
this old thing, that's what RuPaul says all the time. This jacket is a prototype for a new collaboration that I have with Jim Thompson. And Jim Thompson is, as I just told you, is a manufacturer of silk here in Thailand and all over the world. And in January, coming in January, I'm going to launch my first collection, both in upholstery, fabrics, homewares, and fashion.
And what will be branded?
It'll be called Bill Bensley Wild by Jim Thompson.
Wow.
Right. And basically all of the fabrics that we have are based on my paintings.
Yes. And for those of you who don't know, he's also a very prolific painter as well.
And in each of the designs, it features one or more, in this case, many more, of the animals of the Cardamom National Rainforest in Cambodia.
Which you have lots of history with, and tell that history in a short.
In short, some years ago, I purchased several thousand hectares of land in hopes to be able to save that land. And I have about 5 kilometers of one of the most beautiful river in all of Cambodia, and it will stay that way in a pristine state forever now. It was sold to me as a part of a mining auction, and I have the rights to mine titanium there.
Wow.
But not
so
anymore.
Mr. Trump will call you and say, I need the rare earth metal that I cannot get from China.
Right.
What are you going to do?
I'll ignore them. Absolutely.
I was asking Bill if Trump organized. Are we getting an echo?
We are getting an echo,
okay.
Yes.
They're fine here, and we okay. So it turns out we hear each other with an echo, but everybody else is fine.
Oh, is that right? Okay.
Yeah. So we'll have to bear.
Hello.
Yeah, I know. If the Trump organization calls you and says, Bill, do a hotel, name your price.
I'd ignore them too.
I'd ignore them too. Okay, all right.
Absolutely.
When I was doing a lot of research on you and listened all to your interviews on YouTube, and I was mentioning that I think I've listened to 40 hours of your video on YouTube already. Everybody and the articles like maximalist approach and the maximalist, and I know you're tired of hearing this.
Uh-huh.
What the hell is that? Like, what is the maximalist approach? And I know you do not want, and I also read an article, you do not want to be typecasted because you just build this minimalist hotel somewhere else. So for us plebeians, can you explain sort of do you want to be typecasted? Do you not want to be typecasted that way?
As long as I'm casted, that's a good thing, right?
Yeah.
But I want, as a hotel designer, I don't want to be put in a box. I don't want to be casted, because I want people to be guessing, what's he going to do next? And also, if you're a hotel owner and you come to me and and you expect, you know exactly what I'm going to do, that's not going to satisfy you very well. So my idea for many years now is to be able to give that hotel owner and the people in that like my hotels a surprise. So even in my paintings, which I've just started painting 5, 6 years now, I try many styles, as opposed to doing the traditional artist way, is to stick to a style and maybe you become famous. I don't care about that.
Right.
So what I want to do is to learn everything that I do. It has one purpose, and that's to learn something new.
What's the straight line you draw from your painting to your hotel? Is there a straight line, or it's a?
There's nothing straight in my life.
Sorry, I walked into that one. Sorry.
Bam!
Oh, did not intend that way at all. Okay, how do we move on from here?
You lost your train of thought now, yeah?
Speaking of trains, might as well talk about trains. Would you design a train?
A train, absolutely.
Has anybody come to you?
We have designed a train, and the Intercontinental here in Khao Yai. It's about 3 hours drive from here. And I got this idea when I was driving to the old airport. I was looking down and I saw this big field of empty carriages. And me being an avid shopper, I said, I wonder if I can go shopping for those guys. And sure enough, the Thai Transit Authority, we banged a lot on their doors, but we bought about 35 of these old carriages.
Wow.
And we shipped them in, and we brought them in by crane, and we put them in a factory where I could redo the interiors. But instead of building something brand new, we refurbished this old junk, and it's become one of the most popular hotel in Khao Yai.
So it's
all made out of old train carriages.
But it's a stationary, or actually?
It's stationary,
yeah.
It's stationary.
Yeah.
But to do a live train that moves, that'd even be more fun.
Yeah, the Orient Express, or what's it called? Belmont.
Belmont, yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure Belmont reads Skift. They do, I know that for sure. Bill would like a call from you. So just make sure that you do.
They talked to us at one point, but unfortunately that didn't work. But my latest thing, 2 weeks ago, the government of Vietnam has come to me and they want me to design a whole new airlines.
Wow. And?
Right? And I said, yes. Yes.
Okay. Is this breaking news? Can we break it?
Sorry?
Can we write this news?
Yeah, absolutely. We can write this news. It's called Sun Phu Quoc Airlines. And it's...
Sorry, what is it again?
Sun, because I work a lot. For many years, I work with a group called Sun Group.
Okay.
And I've done 7 hotels with them.
Okay.
And then they're now partnering with the government, and the government wants to promote Phu Quoc Island.
Right.
So we're going to build this, within 3 years, this 40 fleet airlines.
So how are you thinking about it? How are you thinking about the project?
How am I thinking about that? They want it to be very, very high end, like Qatar, half of the plane, and in executive class and first class, et cetera. And what am I doing now about that? My main strategy is I've identified about 35 most beautiful parts in Vietnam. I love Vietnam, I go there all the time. And these parts then are painted full body on the plane. So instead of a stripe across the thing, a swoosh and all of that, the entire image of these 35 places are painted on the plane.
On the outside.
On the outside.
Yeah.
And then that carries through I meant to do the uniforms, I meant to do all the mise en place that you're served, the menus, the whole deal, the whole imaging. So it's totally new thing for me.
This is the first time you're doing it?
First time ever, right? But that's the thing that I like to do.
Yeah. So what's one of the things that I think about is the way to keep your brain fresh is to always keep coming up with new ways of looking at the world.
Exactly.
And so how do you think about And at some point, do you run out of ways of looking at the world?
Never. Never, ever.
So how do you keep, like this is, we're Skift, we're 13 years in. One of the things that, like people called us cool when we first started. So the biggest fear that I have is at some point we'll be uncool, right? If people call you cool now, 13 years later we'll become uncool, right? It's just a fact of human life. And so one of the things that I worry about is how do we keep our coolness alive? We can't call ourselves cool, other people have to call us cool, right? Because if we call ourselves cool, we're definitely not cool.
That's right.
So how do you think about sort of is there a process that keeps coming up with these new ideas, or it's just, you're just constantly on the move? I know you just said you're getting a shipment from Sri Lanka. So is the shopping part inspires you?
Oh, very much so. We are asked to do a new project about once a day, right? To do once a day. And so I have it's a great honor to be able to be very choosy about what we do, but
how many do you reject versus how many do you take?
95% we reject. But when anything comes across in a place that I haven't been to before, then no matter what it is, I'm on it like a rat up a drain pipe.
Yeah.
Right? I'm into it because I know that if I'm going to, like in 3 weeks' time, I'm going to the first time to a place called Lagos.
Yeah, Nigeria?
In Nigeria, yeah. And I've never been there. I've been all over Africa, but I said yes, and it's a small city hotel and so forth. But so that's, I think, to be able to have that ability to go new places and then to be totally submerged in that atmosphere. I know Lagos is the fashion center of Africa. So that's one of the things I want to do.
I will disagree with that one. Is Dakar, Senegal.
It's what?
Dakar, Senegal.
Oh, you think it is that right?
Have you been to Dakar?
No, not yet.
You should go. It's the most effortlessly, the Senegalese are the most effortlessly stylish people in the world.
Oh yeah? Okay.
Yeah, just the way their body moves, the way the cloth falls on them. And I think you will appreciate it. You should definitely go.
Love to do that.
It's also the one of the best food cuisines in the world.
Cool.
It really is. What were we talking about?
I don't know.
We threw off track.
You're the leader.
I am, yeah.
Lead, come on.
In the shopping, what are you shopping from Sri Lanka?
When I go shopping, I shop by container load, right? So I'll fill up the stage of this sort of thing.
And you are going personally?
Huh?
You are going personally for the shopping?
Yes. Yeah, I take the funnest parts of it. I have about 125 people that work for me.
So
but I take the funnest jobs,
yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And the funnest jobs is shopping, but OP shopping, other people's money. Right? That is the funnest thing you do, and especially if you got the client's representative back there with the checkbook. Yes, okay, that one.
So that's like VCs, exactly like VCs, right? That's what they do, spend other people's money. Venture capitalists. They spend other people's money to invest in companies. So your own Shintamani, is that how you pronounce it?
Yes, Shintamani, yes.
Which is an Indian origin word, but I guess from this part of the world. How do you think about your hotels differently than when you're designing for somebody else?
The Shintamani Wild was the hardest thing I've ever done. Oh, you've got it here. Yeah.
We're on it. We're always.
We're on it. Yes. Why is it a little bit different? Well, it's kind of the cover girl for hotels that have feathered into conservation and also helping the community, so that with our Shintamani Wild, I have a private army, and that army is about 15 people. They carry AK-47s 24/7, and in the last 9 years, we filled up a space as big as this stage and is up to the roof if you can imagine this volume with chainsaws. Imagine that volume, solid chainsaws from this stage all the way up to the roof.
These are confiscated from the...
Yes, they're confiscated from these jungles, from all of these jungles. So every day our guys go out and they will stop poachers, and we've picked up 14,000 snares so far. Right? And snares are so dangerous they can kill and do kill baby elephants. About 4 months ago, we lost a clouded leopard. Right? So these are very dangerous. And if we weren't there, our forest of several thousand hectares would be dead, 100% dead.
This is the cardamom forest?
This is the cardamom forest, yes.
Yeah. And it's called cardamom because they actually have wild cardamom there?
Yes, they do.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wild cardamom. And so I have 15 tiny little tents, and they're expensive, but that creates enough money then to be able to support this 15-person private army.
Wow. I know you have done a lot of sort of what the world would call luxury work. Would you do non-luxury work? Like, I don't know, if like what our industry calls mid-scale, for instance, mid-scale hotels. Would you do that?
Yes. Yeah.
And how would the creative process
You mean
be
like
different?
Ivani's and things?
The what?
I know Dilip's here.
Dilip is here somewhere? Oh, did he? Dilip didn't show up.
I take that back. What do you mean by mid-scale?
Meaning like it's not luxury, the ADR is not $1,000 plus or whatever.
Well, in Siem Reap, we have a small hotel there, which is a 3-star, and it's very much mid-luxury.
Mid-luxury.
But primarily why we have that is because we have a hotel school there. And we've been taking care of for 20 years now, 22 villages in the north. So that's the basis, that's where the basis for Shintamani Foundation is. So to answer your question, yes.
And would the approach, so I guess the maximalist approach won't work there, but just because of the budget constraints. How much do you care about the budget constraints?
A lot. Have to be very concerned about in every single project. Even, now we're doing a project for, do you know a company called Louis Vuitton?
Yeah, I heard of them.
Okay,
yeah,
heard of them.
Yeah.
Okay, we're doing a company for LVMH with, it's called Cheval Blanc, and we're doing that in Turkey. And they've given us this horribly restrictive budget of about $2.5 million per room. So yes, I know what budgets are.
Wow. So how are you thinking about? No, I know you know what budgets are. What I mean is that, okay, let me phrase it this way.
One of our best hotels ever has been a Novotel, and it was the only Novotel which ever made the cover of an Architectural Digest. You know what my budget for landscape was? $50,000 for the entire thing.
Where is it?
This is in Lombok.
Okay.
Okay. But yes, know what a budget is. All right.
What do you think of the current crop of hotel CEOs? When you meet them, what do you think of them?
Sorry, what?
The hotel CEOs, like Marriott CEO, IHG CEO. Do you meet them?
The CEOs?
The CEOs of the hotel groups, like Marriott CEO or Hilton CEO.
Yeah.
If you meet, like, what's the conversation like? Do they know?
I had a funny story. Marriott had a worldwide convention, and it was about 5 years ago, and it was here in Bangkok. And Marriott, is a lot of Mormons,
Yes,
right?
the family goes.
So they asked me if they could have a party at my house. I said, sure. And I said, about how many people will come? They said about 20. Well, about almost 100 people from Marriott came.
Showed up.
And they didn't know it, but I hired the best drag shows in all of because we do this a lot. I have these drag shows, and I remember one of the CEOs, or I forgot who he was, but the president was there, and he told his driver, "I'll just be half an hour." He left at 4 o'clock in the morning.
So you converted him to
We converted him.
converted him.
So no matter, everyone has to have fun.
Yeah.
And that's, we had a ball that night.
In terms of the regions of the world that you would like to work, but you're not there yet.
Sorry, I couldn't hear you.
The region, sorry, this echoing is really annoying. The regions of the world that you have not worked in that you would really like to work in.
Madagascar.
Why?
Why? Because it is a place that I haven't been there, but I'm going this year. It's a place that the ecology is crumbling.
Yes. Yeah, it's
very
a really
quickly.
bad state. Yeah.
Right. So I want to do something there in order to be able to help to put that on the map, right? To bring that to light.
And this is just on your own, not with the hotel group?
No, hopefully it would be with Chintamani, right? Okay. With Chintamani would be great. But I recently I've joined this club. It's called The Long Run. Okay. And there's about 120 of us, of owners and together I met with them a couple of months ago in a place called Tswalu in South Africa. And together, this 100 people, we own collectively something like 100 million hectares of land around the world. And everybody has the same idea, to be able to preserve it. Just conservation. So that would be my main goal. And if I had one place to go the rest of my life, it'd be Madagascar to do that.
If you're not able to do in Madagascar, the group of islands next to it, I don't know if you've ever heard of them, Comoros Islands.
The Comoros, yes. Fishing is supposed to be great there.
And I've been there twice. And
is it good?
It is among the poorest country in Africa. And it's the flight from Nairobi to Comoros is more expensive than from New York to Nairobi. Go. And it's had 25 coups in the 25 years of its existence from French, until the three islands said we shouldn't fight amongst each other, we should just rotate the presidency. And so they rotate every 2 years, and then one of the islands recently said we're not going to rotate away our thing, and then so now they're fighting again. So that'd be a great country for you to do something in.
Love to go there, yeah.
It's an incredible place. I'll talk to you separately on that. Middle East, I know you're doing a bunch of projects. Tell me some fun stories. Or Saudi, the experience of working in Saudi. It's the one question he will not answer.
I've recently been asked to do, and it's almost at the signing point now, we're going to take Chintamani to Soda Peaks in Saudi Arabia, and it's right on the Yemen border, and it's a beautiful place. I haven't been there yet, but I'm open to it. We've done every single project that you can possibly imagine in Saudi Arabia, but none of it has ever gone anywhere.
And I know you won't be able to tell the details on that one, but is the desert versus the greenery sort of how do you think about sort of the desert environment versus the greenery in this part of the world, and how do you sort of contrast how you want to go about the creative process?
Well, I think conservation doesn't only have to happen in the greenest parts of the world, right? Because the desert is just as fragile as everywhere else. So, and that's there's some really good conservation projects happening in Saudi too. So it would be wonderful to be part of that. And I'm supposed to do a tented camp there at Alula.
You are, okay.
Yeah, I'm slated to do that. So if it's meaningful, then let's do it.
Cities versus sort of virgin areas, if you will. Like Bangkok, what attracts you about, obviously you've spent a lot of your time here. What attracts you about Bangkok, and how do you think about getting into the skin of the city as you live here and you go out and you've been here and you want to find new inspiration again and again and again as you go out into the city?
I don't, to be perfectly honest, is that I've been living here since 1984.
And you came from US?
I came straight out of school. And I arrived
Would you
here
ever
with,
go back?
with 15 bucks in my pocket.
Would you ever go back?
Would I ever go back to the States?
Yeah.
I have no interest. Yeah, this is my home. And there's so many wonderful things that need to happen here, especially in Cambodia, that I have no interest in going to the States, yeah.
Do you follow what's happening in the States?
Where?
In the state, do you, okay, I get it. I'm walking into every trap you're laying. Why wouldn't you do a project in US?
Why wouldn't I? Now, call me a bigot, but my few experiences in the States has been, and I know yours is different, has been that there's too many cooks in the kitchen, right? As about in this part of the world, and certainly Africa and so forth, when you draw something and that's the way it is, right? And you build it.
Yeah. And what about versus Europe?
We have very tempting, but things are very, very slow in Europe, yeah? Very slow.
And expensive too, I guess.
And expensive too, yeah.
Yeah, so that makes sense. Well, are we out of time or are we not out of time? Can we continue for like 5 more minutes? Okay, so do you think about the legacy?
Think about what?
Legacy, what you're leaving behind.
No, I haven't. I'll think about that when I die.
I again walked into that
Yeah.
one. But as you think, so the next generation of hotel or the hotel designers, what do you want them to take away from your life?
The next hotel,
The young look up to you. A lot of people here said there's a hotel school on the 3rd floor here. If the students come up and listen to you, what do you want them to know that you are doing or they should be doing for the future of the world?
I teach a lot in the universities around here, and one of the main things that I do is that I ask them to travel, but most importantly to travel and put away their iPhones, put away their phones, and to do what I do, is that no matter where I go, I'm always have a portfolio with me and I'm always sketching. Because if I can sketch something, no matter what, certainly not here, but
well, there goes our sponsorship for next year. Thank you, Bill.
That if I'm sketching something, that enters my head. If I take my 3,000th photo of the day, I'll probably never look at it again, and that doesn't register. So wherever I go, I'm always sketching at least one big sketch, and that becomes a catalyst for a painting. And then I take it home and I'll do a larger painting like this, and then that painting then ends up building 2 homes in Cambodia.
Right, you talked about that on the phone.
Right.
To your foundation.
Through my foundation.
So
now I have 4 different galleries. So I'm constantly painting. I'm up at 6 in the morning, and I'll paint until 10, and then I go to the office, and then I come back at about 4 or 5, and then I'm painting more. But the idea that what I'm doing is not just, it changes lives.
Yeah. Let's end on this
small scale. And thank you very much for your donation.
Of course, yeah, thank you very much. Thank you for coming. It's such a thing.
Yeah.
That was not my last question.
Okay.
But my last question is only because I'm Indian. Are you doing anything in India?
I have done many things in India. In fact, in 1984, I started to work on Mr. Oberoi's office as a draftsman, right? And then I did the Amar Villas, the Amar Villas, the Raj Villas, the Uday Villas, and now next to the Uday Villas, there's a Leela, and in between on the lake, in between the Leela and the Uday villas, the Oberoi, and now I'm doing a Ritz Reserve on the lake in Udaipur.
I know you love Udaipur.
I love India. And I love India because it's still a place where everybody can use their hands.
Yes.
Right.
To eat food. This is what I say, like how the best feeling in the world. How do you taste food if you don't eat it with your hands?
Not about food, I was thinking about...
Okay, you were talking about something else totally.
Oh, I don't know, food, right? How'd you get food out of this?
Just because like Indians eat with their hands.
Oh, yeah.
Fingers.
I do too when I'm there, yeah. But no, what I meant is that people still use their hands, meaning that there's so many people in India that can sew, that can lay
Right,
stone, can carve,
there.
craftsmanship and so
It's
forth.
still there.
And that is very important for my work.
Of course, because you're a tactile human
Right.
being. Well, thank you very much, Bill. This has been
welcome.
This has been our honor that you're here.
Any questions from the audience?
Any questions from the audience? David,
Nope.
come on, you gotta
Okay,
have
see
a
you later.
question. They were entertained and learned tons, and it's our honor that you're here. And hopefully next year we'll have a bigger chair. We now learn how tall he is.
These chairs are pretty good, huh?
No, you cannot come out of it.
I got a really big ass.
Let me help you.
Oops.
Oops, that actually was true. Thank you, Bill.